Witherspoon picked up the foul. That's his second. And the second team foul here in the second half on Memphis.
Despite being down 6 points, you really have to tip your hat to the Memphis Tigers' defensive effort. You're looking at a team in Gonzaga that's just shy of 80 points a game. And they're at the 35-point clip right now. So they've slowed Gonzaga down a lot, and they've done a really good job on Elias Harris.
On the flip side, Memphis averages about 76 points per game, and they're stuck on 29 right now. A pretty good defensive effort from both clubs.
Well, oh, okay. Said a warning on the coaching staff of Gonzaga. So
that was
stay in the box.
Yes. A moment ago.
Yes, stay in the box. Leave us alone. Tell you what, I tip my hat to the officials, Terry, because if no one sees them, they did a good job. And they can't please everybody in any game.
No. Blocking foul on Stephen Gray. Nope, they're going to call it on Elias Harris, and that's 3 on Harris. Yeah, Gray kind of signaling, no, it was me, it wasn't Harris.
Well, Gray trying to set up and take the charge, and might have been a little push in the back that
I guess so.
I didn't see, but the official was in better position than I was that time.
So Manny Arap comes on, and Elias Harris, who's been the focus on offense so far in the first 4 minutes of this second half, he's going to have to take the seat.
And that's good news for Memphis. Get the second leading scorer. Quite a dynamic score at that to be in foul trouble, but Gonzaga has some other weapons.
Henderson Niles gets it back to the left hand. He goes. Senior from Ridgeway High School right here in Memphis, who averages 5 points a game.
And Henderson Niles, Terry, broke his finger in the warm-ups of a game earlier this season and is playing with a broken finger right now. So this young man showing you some toughness on the floor for Memphis.
Crowd up, standing and cheering. Sacre and 1. They'll sit back down just like that. That's a good way to cry at the crowd. Pierre Henderson Niles picking up the foul. Sacre with a chance for 3, the old-fashioned way, when we come back to the FedEx Forum.
Really good job here in his first season, trying to implement his style for the Memphis Tigers, where they've grown accustomed to John Calipari. Doing a pretty good job, Terry.
You know, when he was called in, R.C. Johnson, the AD, offered him the job. He said, nope, I don't want it. And he said, well, why? He said, well, I want to be a head coach, not an assistant coach. He said, that's what I'm hiring you for, the head coaching position.
Yeah, that guy's like Forrest Gump. Before his career is going to be over, Josh Pastner's going to be able to have quite a few stories.
Look at what they've lost. As you try to, I mean, they've got 16 wins right now. He's done a pretty good job losing, obviously, your head coach and those names.
Oh, yeah. Tyreek Evans is tearing the NBA up right now. Anderson, you mentioned him and his defensive prowess against Matt Bolden last year. But they, believe me, the cupboard will be full next year with the #1 recruiting class coming in.
Playing throughout this year also under the shadow of you know, the NCAA, they went before the NCAA Infractions Appeals Committee on the 29th to argue the 38 wins in the Final Four appearance having been taken away, over $500,000 as well. They'll hear back in about 4 to 6 weeks on that. But that always hangs, it's a cloud over you that's in the back of your mind. But despite all of that, as you said, they had the #1 recruiting class in the country.
It's amazing what Josh Pastner and his staff have been able to do. Will Burton, #3 pick. There's R.C. Johnson right there, doing a fantastic job as AD here in Memphis and trying to overcome the loss of Calipari and some of those stalwart players, Derrick Rose, Tyreek Evans, Antonio Anderson, Douglas Roberts from a couple years back, and trying to keep this thing going here in Memphis.
Willie Kemp just picked up his second, so at the 14:42 and counting mark, Gonzaga with an 8-point lead. Elias Harris on the bench with 3 fouls.
Well, Memphis does a great job, Terry, of denying the first pass and then trying to help weak side.
Gray stepped on the line. Turnover back to Memphis. I was just going to mention almost every possession in the second half, either Sacre or Elias Harris has touched the basketball. They've gone into the post. Now, without Harris, they struggled on that possession.
Yeah, now on the floor, Manny Arap is primarily a defender, gets on the offensive glass pretty well, but they don't have a lot of guys who create their own shot.
Williams is short with it. They're going to call the blocking foul underneath on Stephen Gray. That's his first.
Well, despite them not shooting the ball well, the Tigers have really done a really good job, Terry, of putting the ball on the deck and getting fouls called against Gonzaga. It doesn't seem like much right now, but if they get into the bonus here where they can get to the free throw line in the second half, that really bodes well for them trying to cut into this lead.
Just 3 team fouls on Gonzaga right now. Williams 1 of 2 at the line. He gets there often. 132 of 169 for a guy who handles the basketball coming in. Pretty good numbers.
Very good numbers, and willingness to give up his body, knowing that he's going to take a shot going to the hole.
2 straight possessions where they turn it over. Williams on the run. Couldn't get the bucket. They will go to the free throw line. The foul's called on Dimitri Goodson, his second.
Donnell Mack not too happy right there. Thought he could have gotten a return pass. See him, Donnell Mack shoots the gap. Now watch Terry, he gives it up. He's expecting to get it back a little bit. You see that right there, his expression like, you know, show a brother some love.
He did. That's exactly what he was saying. That's what that expression means.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
Williams missing another free throw. Elias Harris coming back in with the 3 fouls, and Will Foster as well for Gonzaga. And Mark Few, I think, after watching the last 2 trips up the floor, feeling like they have to get Harris back in.
They need another scorer on the floor. When Sacre is not able to score and establish himself on the post, you need another player on the floor that can create.
A sigh here in the FedEx Forum. Memphis now just 5 of 11 from the free throw line. Inside out they go. Gray. Coleman tips it. Goodson runs it down. Fresh 35. Dimitri along the baseline. How about that move?
Dimitri Goodson, I thought he was going to take the 3, Terry, where he struggles. But he got to the rim where he can use his athleticism. Wise choice by Dimitri Goodson.
Largest lead of the game for Gonzaga. And now they go back to a zone, and it's a big one with Foster in there and Harris.
And this is what really got Gonzaga going in the first half. They were able to get stops in this zone defense. And see what happens with Memphis. The ball sticks in everyone's hands. They're not fluid offensively.
Witherspoon, the deep corner 3.